This is NECN Now.
Right now on NECN, we'll take you to the Massachusetts coast where the wind is churning up the waves, what locals have to say about this wild weather. Plus, in New Jersey, coastal communities are bracing for the worst as they watch the waters rise there. And 19 are dead after an airstrike hits a Doctors Without Borders camp in Afghanistan. Is the U.S. military to blame? Well, good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Jackie Bruno. We are in day 4 of a 5-day nor'easter impacting New England. Let's talk to meteorologist Tim Kelly about it. He has your early warning weather. Hey, Tim.
Yeah, this is the final round. In northern New England, we've had nice weather. It's almost like there's 2 different kinds of weather in New England. Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. Pretty nice. It's frosty cold tonight. Southern New England is just windy and cold, but at least the rain is let up. Look at this weather map. It is dynamic. On the lower right, that is Hurricane Joaquin. Pulled another fast one. Almost intensified to Category 5 today, but at least it's moving over the open water well east of the Bahamas. Bermuda has a hurricane watch. In South Carolina, more than a foot of rain has come down. There's a stalled spigot of water coming in off the Atlantic Ocean, backing all the way into Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio, Indiana, Pennsylvania, and New York. But in New England, we're catching a break. There's drier weather here. It looks like a little rain near Nantucket, but most of us are dry overnight tonight. North of Manchester, New Hampshire, it's mostly clear. Southern New England, a lot of clouds, but late tonight you'll be able to see the moon through the clouds. And you see a few green spots there south of Boston. And tomorrow we wake up to sunshine with temperatures in the 30s. Northern New England with a bit of frost. In southern New England, there are breaks of sunshine, but also you see a few sprinkles near Boston, Providence, Cape Cod. It's not quite as windy at the ocean. Wind advisory on Cape Cod is expiring, and we're not really expecting any more coastal flooding either. So an improving weather pattern, a nice Sunday, and an even better 7-day in a few minutes.
Sounds good to me, Tim. Well, Mother Nature was putting on quite a show along the New England coastline today. Our Alicia Rodriguez joins us live from Scituate, Massachusetts, where people have been coming to watch what the weather's doing. Alicia.
Yeah, Jackie, well, as we get closer to sunset and things are getting quite a bit colder, we've seen fewer crowds, but that doesn't mean that the waves still aren't impressive. Take a look here. We're right near the Scituate Lighthouse, but earlier, just at high tide around 4 o'clock, the waves were even more impressive, though a lot of locals coming out wondering just how far into town the ocean would come.
Everyone loves a storm in New England.
Strong winds in Scituate, Massachusetts are creating spectacular waves. A show that for many is worth standing outside on a cold and rainy day.
Everybody comes out to watch the waves and drive along the cliffs to see the surf.
But the plumes of water also flooded streets and created a challenge for people trying to get their boats out of the harbor.
The weather right now is pretty gusty and sort of a little terrifying, seeing not sure where the waves were going to go.
It's fun to watch it from the land. When you're being out on the water, it's a little more tricky. Pretty intimidating looking out on the ocean to see what's going on.
It's a lot more fun the day the boat's going in the water. Not as much fun taking it out. But this is Scituate, beautiful summer days and ocean storm days. So you take the good and the bad.
We've seen years of devastation. The Lighthouse Road completely, strewn with rocks and water. Yeah, impassable. The road's closed.
If the seawall wasn't here, there'd be rocks all over the parking lot right now.
Yeah, and we didn't see any of that devastation that they were talking about today. Again, some flooded roads, but nothing major. Reporting live in Scituate, Massachusetts, Alicia Rodriguez, NECN.
And Quincy, Massachusetts was also affected by the heavy winds. Our Glenn Marshall continues our coverage there.
Hurricane Joaquin may be headed away from the East Coast, but high winds are hitting New England. Not 1, but 3 boats have blown onto North Quincy's Wollaston Beach.
This is a good day to put a for sale sign on it.
Jim Harrington says his boat Westerly Shore hit land overnight with no damage, but could cause a $4,000 dent in his pockets in towing fees.
When the tide comes in, we'll see if we can't float her off, and if not, then we'll have to have someone come in and literally trailer the boat off the beach.
For the past 24 hours, strong winds have tossed boats, forced some Boston ferries to cancel trips, and created cleanup for some residents.
Those tree limbs, coming down to the house, It's kind of concern.
But not all are tired of the gusty weather. Some are saying they are going with the flow of New England storms.
Sure, you got to take care of things, take care of your house, make sure everything's buttoned up, but it's just part of being a New Englander.
In Quincy, Massachusetts, Glenn Marshall, NECN.
And don't forget, you can find up-to-the-minute forecasts and check out our live interactive radar. It's in our NECN app, and it's a free download for all your mobile devices. Now, other parts of the East Coast are also getting hammered by heavy rains this weekend. Many parts of South Carolina are expecting a historic rain event because of a stalled weather front. Several counties are under a flood warning. The rain is already causing street flooding in parts of that state, and at least one river is expected to rise above flood stage today and continue rising through Monday. And flash flooding is being reported in North Carolina as well. This is Mallard Creek in Charlotte, and you can see the rushing water there. There are reports of 4 inches of rain falling in some parts of Charlotte in just a few hours.
The saturated grounds, we're having some trees fall down, and we're having some power outages across the state. My sister just called me from Charlotte and said her power is out. So even it's hitting members of my own family.
Now, a tree fell on a home in Charlotte. You can see it there. 3 people were inside that building, but thankfully they were not hurt. And heavy surf is also pounding the coast of Virginia. In Virginia Beach, coastal flooding remains a threat for residents during high tide, in addition to significant beach erosion. Waves as high as 7 feet are currently slamming that beach, but farther off the coast, the storm is producing monster swells at about 16 feet. Now, further north in New Jersey, some of the same areas affected 2 years ago by Superstorm Sandy are watching the water rise along the coast once again.
Everybody rides by with their boats and says, boy, we wish we had a house like they have. But the cost is this. It's a trade-off.
Now, the wind and water is taking its toll. Neighbors say they've seen docks blowing by even a house. And people in southeastern Bahamas are cleaning up today. Hurricane Joaquin destroyed houses, uprooted trees, and caused heavy flooding there. Officials are investigating reports of shelters being damaged and flooded, but there have been no reports of deaths or injuries so far. The government is inspecting airports for damage. More than a dozen small airports have already reopened, and the storm is now moving towards Bermuda. And the search continues in the Bahamas for a missing cargo ship that began taking on water during Hurricane Joaquin. And we've learned several men from Maine were aboard that ship. The Coast Guard resumed its search this morning, and on Thursday, the ship reportedly took on water near Crooked Island. There are 33 crew members on board that ship, and 28 of them are Americans. The Portland Press-Herald reports 4 are from Maine, and that includes the captain, Michael Davidson. Our affiliate WCSH reports that he is from Windham, Maine. And a hospital run by Doctors Without Borders in the northern Afghan city of Kunduz was bombed overnight. At least 19 people were killed, dozens more wounded, and it's unclear exactly who bombed that hospital. But NBC's John Yang reports the charity is now looking to U.S.-led coalition troops for an explanation.
The Pentagon confirms it carried out an airstrike against individuals it says were threatening the force. Their statement also said, quote, there may have been collateral damage to a nearby medical facility. Afghan officials said as many as 15 Taliban fighters were shooting at Afghan forces from the hospital. That's something that Doctors Without Borders strongly denies.
We want an explanation very fast, and we want an independent investigation to be started.
An official of the charity tells NBC News he is devastated and disappointed. The charity says both Washington and Kabul knew the hospital's GPS coordinates and that the assault continued for 30 minutes after they told the military they were being hit.
So we really don't understand, and we definitely do not accept the notification of collateral damage as we heard in the beginning in the first reaction.
Doctors Without Borders sent out pictures showing wounded staffers in hallways and surgery taking place in makeshift operating rooms. The Pentagon says it's investigating the strike. John Yang, NBC News, London.
And we are also learning the names of the 6 U.S. airmen killed in that plane crash in Afghanistan. 2 of them were deployed out of Hanscom Air Force Base in Bedford, Massachusetts. The crash happened Friday morning in eastern Afghanistan. The Air Force says the victims include Senior Airman Nathan Sartain and Airman First Class Casey Ruiz. Both were deployed out of Hanscom Air Force Base, but neither were from Massachusetts. The other 4 victims were deployed out of Texas. The Taliban claims it shot down that plane, but U.S. military officials say that is unlikely. And we're learning new details this evening about Thursday's shooting at a community college in Oregon. Police now say the gunman who killed 9 people committed suicide as officers arrived. That was the determination made by the medical examiner. At a news conference today, the sheriff talked about the heroes of that day.
The 2 Roseburg police officers who responded and stopped the shooter from killing dozens of other people who were in that classroom and in the immediate vicinity. The student who, by all reports, charged the shooter and suffered multiple gunshot wounds.
Meanwhile, officials say the gunman, Christopher Harper Mercer, left a manifesto that was a couple pages long. Police did not confirm this at the press conference, but they did say dozens of documents in digital media were found, but they did not disclose the contents of those documents. Coming up, a priest comes out as gay and he gets fired from his position at the Vatican. What he has to say about the church's stance on homosexuality. Plus, more problems for former teen idol David Cassidy. Why he's now facing charges in Florida.
This portion of NECN is brought to you by FindMassMoney.com.
Did you know that Massachusetts has 14 million accounts equaling $2.4 billion in unclaimed money, stocks, insurance claims, and more? Log on to FindMassMoney.com to search for your name and see if you have unclaimed money waiting for you.
Sleepy's Columbus holiday prices are unbeatable. Get up to half off nearly every mattress in the store, with Beauty Rest Queen sets starting at just $249 each piece. Sleepy's, the only mattress professionals.
I'm really into this car, but how do I know if I'm getting a good deal? TrueCar knows exactly how much people have been paying for the car I want. I tell TrueCar my zip and what car I'm into, and it shows me the TrueCar curve. This shows the range of prices people in my area actually paid for the same car. Looks like these folks paid a little more than everyone else. And this guy got the deal of a lifetime. This is how car buying was always meant to be. This is TrueCar.
At Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts, we want you to have 0 excuses, 0 boundaries, and 0 things stopping you from doing what you love. That's why we offer a variety of Medicare plans that fit both your budget and your lifestyle. Because not only do our plans start as low as $0, but they also come with the peace of mind that you get when you have a health plan who has 50 years of Medicare experience. Our plans include everything from annual wellness visits to preventative hearing and vision exams and prescription drugs. We have affordable individual dental plans too. And we even offer plans with no medical deductible and no referrals. The next chapter of your life should be all about you. That's why we're here, because we're more than Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts. We're Blue Cross Blue Shield of you. To learn more, call us at 1-888-800-8445 or visit us at bluecrossma.com/Medicare Guide and request our free Medicare information guide with no obligations.
Mornings, a new start, a new day on NECN. Latoya Edwards, Brian Shackman, and Chief Meteorologist Matt Noyce. NECN This Morning. Boarding a boat for something new. An outdoor program using adventure, challenge, and exploration to teach kids to work together. Thompson Island, Tuesday at 9.
The Vatican fired a mid-level priest today after he told an Italian newspaper he was gay. The Vatican dismissed the priest from his position at the Vatican's doctrinal arm, where he had worked since 2003. This came after the Monsignor announced to the paper that he was in a relationship with a Spanish gay rights activist and encouraged the Catholic Church to change its stance on homosexuality.
Every homosexual person is son of God, and when belief in God is son of the church of another Christian community.
The Vatican says the priest's dismissal had nothing to do with his comments to the paper, but they say the timing of his announcement on the eve of the Synod of Bishops was irresponsible. And after a brief medical scare, the Dalai Lama assured his followers that he is in excellent health. He returned to the Tibetan government in exile's headquarters in northern India today. He was greeted with prayer flags and colorful banners strung throughout the town. The 80-year-old Dalai Lama said he was advised by the Mayo Clinic in Minnesota to rest and canceled appearances in the United States this month, including a stop right here in Massachusetts. Well, Tim, day 4 of a 5-day nor'easter, and I have to tell you that it is taking a lot of hairspray to make my hair look good. A lot.
I know it's serious. Yeah, the hair is one thing. Dealing with the coastal situation, it was just mild enough of a storm that you could go to the ocean and be safe, and strong enough that makes it a spectacle. And it's been a prolonged event, much worse in other parts of the United States, much better in other parts too. For example, the summit of Mount Washington last night got down to 21 degrees, and Ken Holland took a photograph. That's rime frost on the top of the peak. There's the peak over there. You can't quite see it. But I love when the foliage comes on strong and you get the frosted top of the mountain. And Mike DeLong also sent one of Katahdin. I didn't have time to get that in here, but the 2 tallest mountains, New Hampshire and Maine, frosted last night. Tonight's another cold night. Just about as cold as last night. Less windy, though, especially Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. With a clear sky and a light wind in northern New England, we go down to 32. With the breeze and clouds in southern New England, we go down to 42. So the heat is on. The furnace is running, but it's we're going to warm up. So we're going to give the heater a break starting on Monday. It's going to turn into a very nice week, it looks like. So the 32-degree isotherm comes right down into the valleys, and the foliage coming on real fast and strong, turning just about as fast in northern New England as southern New England. So no matter where you go for a ride tomorrow, you're going to see pretty colors, but you'll see blue in the sky for most of western and northern New England. It's going to stay gray, though, for Providence, Boston. Temperature starts off in the 40s in southern New England, goes up to the mid-50s. You see through the cloud here. On Cape Cod, there may be a few sprinkles. Today turned out pretty nice, though. 55 at Boston Logan Airport tomorrow, a little warmer away from the shore. 57 Portsmouth. Then you move north, 62 in the Champlain Valley, a real pretty day. Topsfield Fair should be dry. The Big E, the last day, that should be nice. Traveling around New England, mostly dry roads. We talk about this almost every Sunday. The warm air goes into Canada and comes down. That's our warming trend for next week. Front stalled on the East Coast is still a big problem to our south. Another front producing elevation snow and lower elevation rain in the northern Rockies is going to cross here. That one is going to cross probably about Friday or so, and that could be some action. So we have a stalled front south of New England. This high pressure system is the strongest we've seen. This is the reason for the wind, air moving from high to low pressure. There's no nor'easter we can identify. It's just a stalled front and the wind going into that front. It just feels like a nor'easter. It's called a high barometer nor'easter. Although in South Carolina, there is a low pressure system in here, and it's just stationary, pulling rain in day after day of rain. While we've had 5 days of wind, they've had 5 days of rain. Now, in some spots, 20 inches. So there is Joaquin. It's going to the very close to Bermuda in a few days. In New England, there's the northern edge of the rain well south of Nantucket. Now we're at Tuesday. That high goes offshore. A warming trend develops. And look at the eye of Joaquin. It intensified again today. It pulled a real fast one, gusted up, intensified to 155-mile-an-hour storm, now down to 150-mile-an-hour over the open ocean. Bermuda, there's a hurricane watch. National Hurricane Center says it misses Bermuda just to the west, but we're going to have to watch that. Obviously, this track has been changing every day, but there it goes way out to sea east of New England. No chance of any impact here in the northeast as it goes off towards Scotland on Thursday. Here's our 7-day forecast looking at the 50s tomorrow, and then brightening. It should be mostly dry, and then Tuesday it's beautiful weather. Wednesday we peak with the 70, and then it gets a little cooler. Still dry Thursday. Could be some showers late Friday into Saturday. That's our forecast.
Tim, that's what I like to see. You want to know what else I like to see? All your photos and videos from the storm. Leslie O'Connell sent us this one in. This is from a beach in Scituate. You can see the waves coming right over the sea wall. That's very cool. And then Dan Barber sent us then this picture of small waves lapping the shore of Falmouth Bay. And Jackie Bennett sent us in this picture showing the cloudy skies reflected in the wet sand at low tide in Gloucester, Massachusetts. And remember, if you see news or weather happening, it's safe to take a picture or a video. That's the big important fact. If it's safe, share it with us at shareit@necn.com. A former teen idol has been charged following a car crash in Florida last month. Officials say David Cassidy sideswept the truck and then tried to cover his license plate before then driving off. The 65-year-old is charged with leaving the scene of an accident and driving with an expired tag. A hearing is scheduled for the end of October. Cassidy is best known, of course, for starring in the popular 1970s TV show, the Partridge Family. And many people will remember where they were on this day in 1995. Yep, that's right. It was 20 years ago that a jury acquitted O.J. Simpson in the murders of his ex-wife Nicole Brown and her friend Ron Goldman. 3 years later, Simpson was convicted in a civil trial for the murders of Brown and Goldman, but never served time for the crimes. He's currently serving a 33-year sentence for an unrelated crime involving kidnapping and theft of sports memorabilia. And coming up next, we'll take you to Italy, where the Celtics are getting ready for their upcoming season.
What's the difference between a radish and a carrot? The radish has color only on the outside. That's how most yarns are dyed. The carrot has color all the way through. That's how Sunbrella fabrics are made. The color is locked into the core of every fiber, making Sunbrella stain and fade resistant and so tough you can use bleach for cleanup, even on colors. It's soft and elegant, but still tough enough to face pets, kids, or anything else. You won't need to worry. Just be happy at Jordan's Furniture.
I'm at St. Jude because I had a cancer inside of me. They diagnosed me with a brain tumor. You have to be strong and don't give up. Attitude is everything. You have to fight.
Imagine your doctor tells you your child has cancer with only months to live. Where would you go? What would you do? Who would you turn to? Fortunately, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital is fighting every day to save children's lives. And with a gift of just $19 a month, you can join the fight.
This is my kid that they're giving back to me. I am so grateful.
At St. Jude, no family ever receives a bill. In fact, no family pays St. Jude for anything. That's why your gift of $19 a month, just 63 cents a day, is so important.
When I thought that I might lose my son, they gave me hope.
You are not only saving a child's life, you're breathing life back into that family.
If I hadn't have come here, I wouldn't have my son.
St. Jude's life-saving research and treatment is shared freely with hospitals around the world.
St. Jude gives you hope and happiness. They're helping us live. Maybe in the future, kids won't have to go through this. We'll find a cure and it'll all be over.
Please, call and become a St. Jude Partner in Hope right now.
Mornings, a new start, a new day on NECN. LaToya Edwards, Brian Shackman, and Chief Meteorologist Matt Noyce. NECN This Morning.
It is October 3rd, and that means basketball is back. The Boston Celtics are kicking off their preseason over in Italy. Comcast Sportsnet's Kevin Walsh is live at the CSN newsroom. And Kevin, why aren't we in Italy?
I was lobbying for us. It just didn't work. Maybe next year. The Patriots getting a break with the bye week, so we turn our attention to other teams around New England, including the Celtics, which are just beginning their season. The Bruins, they finished up their preseason yesterday, went 5-2. All right, back to the C's. They're doing things overseas. The C's touched down in Milan, Italy today to gear up for their first preseason game. That'll be Tuesday against Olimpia Milano. Here's our own Abby Chin with more from Italia.
Buongiorno, welcome to Milan. The Celtics left Boston late on Friday, flew overnight, and arrived here in Italy a little after 11 a.m. local time. As you can see, the weather here a little bit dreary, but that cannot dampen the excitement on a new season, and for players like rookie Terry Rozier, their very first trip abroad.
It's been great. You know, it's kind of different, but it's a lot of fun. I'm ready to get out and check out the city and see how it is, but so far it's been great. Being here with these group of guys is a lot of fun.
Well, I'm looking forward to everything. You know, I always wanted to come to Italy, so it's going to be a fun experience. I heard basketball over here is crazy. I heard the food's even better, so I think it's going to be a fun time.
This is my first time overseas, you know, first time experiencing a plane ride longer than 3 hours, so
I'm looking forward to it. I'm just here to enjoy it.
The Celtics practice for the first time here in Milan tomorrow, and then Coach Stevens has one big team event planned, although he wouldn't tell us exactly what it was earlier this week. He did say there was a lengthy bus ride involved, trying to kickstart that team chemistry. That'll do it from Milan for now. I'll send it back to you in the studio.
See all those iPhones in the media scrum? Hey, what about this guy, Joe Philbin? His time in Miami might be up if things don't turn around with the Dolphins fast, according to a report from the Miami Herald. If the Dolphins lose in a blowout fashion to the Jets in London on Sunday, Philbin's job will be in serious jeopardy. Well, it already is in jeopardy. That might be the straw that broke the camel's back. Miami sits at 1-2 on the season after last week's 41-14 drubbing by the Buffalo Bills. One guy who's definitely out of a job and deserves to be out of a job, that guy, Josh Scobie. Last seen Thursday night missing not one, but two crucial kicks in a loss to the Ravens. The Steelers officially cut the 12-year veteran. They actually traded for the guy. Pittsburgh signed free agent kicker Chris Boswell on Saturday, their fourth kicker since the start of the preseason. And on to soccer now. The New England Revolution in action tonight, hoping to clinch a playoff berth. They don't need much. All they need is a win or a draw tonight, and they're in. New England fell short last season of the big one, the MLS Cup. They lost to the LA Galaxy. First kick for tonight's match against the Chicago Fire, 8:30, and you can watch it on Comcast Sportsnet. That is a look at sports from the Comcast Sportsnet newsroom in Burlington, Mass. I'm Kevin Walsh.
Thanks so much, Kevin. Well, a Michigan farmer made a mammoth find while digging in a field. A couple of men were digging in a field near Ann Arbor, and they then found what they thought was a mud-covered fence post. Nope. A University of Michigan professor confirmed it was in fact the remains of a woolly mammoth. The men dug out the skull and a huge tusk. Check that thing out. The professor says the woolly mammoth was likely 40 years old and killed by humans. Wow. Let's talk to meteorologist Tim Kelly. How cool is that, Tim?
That is absolutely fascinating, to tell you the truth. There's a lot of science we don't understand, including the forecasts of hurricanes, intensity, and track. But one thing we know, Joaquin is not an issue for New England. We are pulling out of the stormy pattern. Look at the 7-day forecast. Looking at the sunshine increasing, temperature increasing, 50s tomorrow, maybe a sprinkle, but mostly dry. Advisories at the coast and for wind are coming down. Then we warm through the 60s back to 70, but it is certainly fall fashion weather tonight and tomorrow.
Sounds good. I'll take out the boots. Thanks so much, Tim. And thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jackie Bruno. You're watching NECN, New England's news station.